So if you want to focus on a startup full time, keep in mind that a startup is likely not going to yield anything meaningful over the first, anywhere from 6 to 24 months, right? Maybe, in the first 9 to 12 months or so, you can probably break even or kind of just some low profitability or so, but it's really a really tedious process, right? Back when I was kind of coaching freelancers, which is more or less 2008, my piece of advice was keeping a savings buffer of, like, let's say 6 to 9 months ahead of time, so that you can switch to full-time freelancing and have cash for rainy days. And that's freelancing. And freelancing is different from startups because freelancing is directly trading your time for money. And it's a lot easier to trade your time for money, and you can make your buck in like a few hours, a few days, a couple of weeks. With startups, it's usually larger investment and the ROI is lower. Like you sell, for example, a $9 a month product or $19 product, which is a lot different than charging $50 or $100 per hour and directly trading your time for money. So you definitely need to have some bucks saved unless you kind of get any form of funding. So there are kind of different concepts here. First and foremost, I would personally suggest that people are keep working their full-time job and work on their startup after hours and on the weekends. Now, again, if you watch some of the some entrepreneurship shows or so, you'll see a lot of people. Let's say they do drop shipping or kind of any other form of business. They do packaging and branding and kind of on the weekends. Before they go to the office, they go kind of to the post office and they ship their stuff. Like they take orders after hours and respond to tickets. It really takes a lot of time, but you also need to secure revenue until you kind of get traction and you get some recurring customers or enough word of mouth in order to be able to switch to the business. In some cases, I've seen founders who hired let's say an assistant or kind of a lower level general manager just running the day to day, so that they can still keep working the day job until the business can afford doing that. In other cases, it's a business with founders. I have friends with let's say starting a business with 3 founders. One of the founders is working a full-time job, literally paying the salaries for the 2 other founders, trying to make the business work, right? So with that in mind, I wouldn't suggest quitting your job unless you have real prospects for kind of substituting your payroll at least 50, 60, 70%, whatever your comfortable amount, and enabling that to be a sustainable portion of the business. Otherwise, again, just keep in mind it's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of late nights and weekends. And if you want the business to be sustainable and resilient, if you want to make sure that you don't burn out in 3 to 4 months because you run out of money and you have to start a job and you have no savings whatsoever, you probably don't want to quit your job anytime soon.